Bank of Ghana directs commercial banks to extend loan repayment reliefs to retail and business clients to the end of this year. Also coming up, economist Dr. Edu Ususako calls for a change in the structure of the economy if the country is to curb the perennial fall in the value of the cedi.
The fact that government has not been able to raise bonds from the Eurobond market or the international capital market, and the fact that foreign investors are selling government bonds are also making government's inability to meet the demands.
Also tonight, as fuel prices go up, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana is asking government to stop interfering in decisions by the transport sector to regulate fares.
We do not think that the Transport Ministry has any business determining transport fares at this point. If you do not have the conscience to subsidize products or manage fuel prices for these poor drivers and expect that it will go up week in, week out, yet when it comes to a time for them to increase.
Well, thanks for being with us tonight. My name is Darryl Kwa. Welcome once again to Business Live. We've got more stories for you tonight right here on this program. Welcome back to Business Live. First up tonight, the Bank of Ghana has directed commercial banks to extend loan repayment reliefs to retail and business clients to the end of this year. This was contained in a letter to the banks and deposit-taking institutions cited by Joy Business. Here's Georgia Fish report.
The Bank of Ghana, in the letter to the commercial banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions, noted that the move was influenced by the assessment of the COVID-19 situation and implementation of credit-to-payment reliefs on loans. It was, however, quick to add that the central bank will undertake assessment of the extension on the financial sector, which is aimed at ensuring that the policy objectives of this action is achieved. The loan repayment moratorium introduced in August last year was meant to give some space to the commercial banks to aid credit extension to businesses due to the COVID-19 situation. It was also meant to freeze those strict reporting requirements for commercial banks when it comes to the provision of loans. This is because the pandemic had made it difficult for loans disbursed to be paid back on time. A move that was hurting the commercial banks badly, which had in turn affected loan disbursement in the country. Based on this extension, banks will from the next 11 months not be subjected to those strict credit requirements by the regulator in terms of how they treat loans disbursed and report them in their books. It is believed that this move would help deal with the slowdown in loans in the country, which, if it should pick up in the coming months, may help in the recovery of the economy.
Sultan Nano Utui Champong has described the extension in the moratorium of loan repayment to customers of banks as critical in supporting businesses and recovery of the economy.
That the impact will be positive for businesses. Now, the original moratorium, which had expired, was able to assist, but as you know, the industry that was most affected was the hospitality industry. Now, in December, we saw that they were gradually picking up, but the development in the world economies, which is inflation going up and all that, appears to be impacting negatively on that sector again. So the extension is welcoming news, and hopefully it should help them to restructure, to re-strategize, and move on.
Now let's turn to the cedi's performance. Economist Dr. Edu Owusu Sarkodie is calling for a change in the structure of the economy if the country is to curb the perennial fall in the value of the cedi. Beyond the prudent fiscal management of the economy, the cedi has crossed the 7 cedi mark against the dollar on the retail market, including forex bureaus. According to him, government must stimulate exports and cut down on imports to enable the central bank have enough foreign exchange to meet dollar demand.
Seasonality of the demand for forex, and currently the fact that government has not been able to raise bonds from the Eurobond market or the international capital market, and the fact that foreign investors are selling government bonds are also making government's inability to meet the demands of forex. So you have demand going up, yet at the same time supply of forex is going down. That is why the cedi is depreciating so fast within these few days. We are just about 45 to 50 days into the year, and the cedi is depreciating so fast, and this is the reason. So when you have a cedi depreciation like that, it affects inflation, because most of the goods, like I said, are imported. So when they import at a higher price, obviously they will increase the price here. That will cause inflation. Look at the fuel prices. You know, the export price is calculated by also taking into account the cedi depreciation. And already the international crude prices are going up. So when you compound it with the cedi depreciation, then the fuel price will go up. When the fuel price increases, transportation fares will go up. We have heard of 30% increment in transport fares. Then the consequence of this is inflation and then high cost of living.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, has said Ghana has enough capacity to add value to its cocoa production. According to him, investors are willing to aid in that quest to support and expand cocoa production value chain, thus ensuring high benefits for the commodity. There is more in this report. CEO of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, at a summit on the business of chocolate, said the expected investment volume for the sector is large, thus the need to push for more value addition to cocoa beans before export. He explained that Ghana has what it takes to attract more investors in the sector for high returns.
That we should be exporting our cocoa beans, we should be adding value to it. And I did say that the cocoa, selling the beans alone every year gives us only some 2 billion. Between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, maybe a top 6 to 8 billion a year. But if you look at the chocolate industry, which is estimated to grow to 160 billion in 2022, if the group that produces 67% of the beans are nowhere in that equation, then there seems to be a little imbalance. And it's important, therefore, for us to add more value to our cocoa.
Mr. Grant further called on financial agencies to partner with the Cocoa Board for a fund that will support cocoa production value chain.
I am sure the financial agencies who are here could easily work with Cocoa Board to come up with a fund that would invest in adding value to our cocoa. I believe that the returns will be immense. Even private sector can put money in such a fund to add value to cocoa and export.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Agyemang, said cocoa production should be economically viable to those involved in the value chain.
What we are doing is to try and bring everybody within the value chain together. And the question is, how do we keep the momentum going? How do we have a sustained demand for products and a sustained supply of the products? What is lacking within the space? For example, for consumers, what are we looking out for? For distributors, what will make the product more, distributable, if I should put it that way. And for producers, what is it that they need? And that's why we have funding partners like Exim Bank, GA, and the rest here, so that together we can look at the business of chocolate. We know that it has value, health-wise, but we need to make it economically viable for everybody within the value chain.
The summit on the business of chocolate is also under the umbrella of the Ghana Cares of Batampa program that seeks to promote and support local businesses in the cocoa value chain amidst COVID-19 challenges. Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, Duncan Amoah, is calling on government to stop interfering in decisions by the transport sector to regulate fares. Speaking on the marketplace, Duncan Amoah indicated that his chamber will not hesitate to protest against the move and describe government's engagement with the GPRTU as illegal.
That meeting ongoing is itself illegal. We do not think that the Transport Ministry has any business determining transport fares at this point. If you do not have the conscience to subsidize products or manage fuel prices for these poor drivers and expect that it will go up week in, week out, yet when it comes to a time for them to increase their fares, you call them and dictate to them how much you think they should increase fares. You cannot deregulate fuel prices and still regulate transport fares. They need a scientific calculation on cost per head per kilometer, efforts of which we have made to the Transport Ministry, again, like the usual Ghanaian institutional bit, no response. And so it just becomes we sit and judge 20%, 10%, 15%, or 5%, the people are suffering. If they are suffering, find a long-lasting measure to stop the growing incidence of fuel price increments. If you don't do that, you will simply be twisting the arm of these transport operators, using unscientific means and using the overbearing powers of the state. If you have deregulated fuel prices, allow the transport sector also to be deregulated.
Okay, now Ghana is aiming to become the best cyber-secure country in Africa from its current third position. This, when achieved, will open more doors for investments in the digital space and improve on confidence in the country's economy. According to Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esther Osei-Kuffour, this target is achievable looking at the significant investment government is pushing into the cyberspace. She was speaking at the inauguration of an 11-member governing board for the Cybersecurity Authority in Accra. Here's a report. The Security Authority under the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has been in charge of efforts by government to safeguard the country's cyberspace. This has positioned Ghana as the third best country in Africa with robust cybersecurity systems. The authority, after achieving this feat, is now aiming to be the best on the continent. Speaking at the inauguration of the 11-member governing board of the Cybersecurity Authority, Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esther Osei-Kuffour, challenged the authority to strive hard towards achieving the new targets.
Our duty is to ensure that we attain this objective that has been set for the organization, but it is doable. Because being third was attained within the last 3-4 years. And so if we aim at being number one within the next 5 years, I think it's doable. We've also ratified the Budapest and Malabo Conventions, which is the African Convention on Personal Data Protection and Cybersecurity, and the European Convention on Cyber Crimes. And I think we're one of the few countries on the continent which has done both. And that's also a source of pride for us.
Mrs. Osei-Kuffour urged the board to support the authority because the country cannot sustain its achievement in the digital ecosystem without cybersecurity due to rising online attacks.
Where we all recognize that digitalization underpins our socio-economic development, and security of our cyber installations and interactions is the other side of the coin of digitalization. For we can't sustain our efforts at building our digital economy without focusing on cybersecurity, because cyber attacks could undermine all our gains in digitalization. It could destroy our social and economic well-being and our national security.
Minister for National Security, Minister for Defense and Acting Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority are some of the members of the governing board. You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to Business Live. For those making plans to purchase vehicles, this may interest you. Automobile firm CFAO Company Limited has partnered some financial institutions to provide 17% fixed discount for every vehicle bought. According to its managing director, Paulo Fernandez, this is to make it easier for customers to purchase vehicles. Speaking at the maiden edition of the CFAO Open House Fun Fair, Mr. Fernandez said the open house model is to build customer relations and improve satisfaction. Yes, more. Managing Director of CFAO Company Limited, Paulo Fernandez, at this year's Open House Fun Fair said the discount offering to customers is to deepen loyalty. He explained that the company will continue to provide customer-centric services for clients.
This self open house is part of this care policy. You know, for example, we want to be very close to our customers. We built a voice of customer meetings, for example. So every quarter, we are making some meetings with different customers. And like that, we received a lot of feedback from them to improve the customer satisfaction. We have a lot of possibilities to purchase a car, but don't forget, it's not only about cars. Also to give them a better knowledge of all the services, all the products we are giving. We are also a team ready to provide them services, financing solutions with our partners, SG Ghana, BOA, and Zenith Bank. So through this partnership, now we can provide them a wonderful financing solution of 17% rate, fixed rate.
Wow.
And you don't have to forget also 25% of deposit only.
Wow.
And 1 to 5 years.
Wow.
Okay, for the loan.
CFAO Company Limited is collaborating with Bank of Africa, Zenith Bank, and Societe Generale to provide customers with affordable financing schemes to enable customers purchase brand new cars. Here's business expert for leasing and factoring at Societe Generale Ghana, Eric Jani.
Well, now we know that today most Ghanaians are not able to afford brand new cars. And we find it very necessary that as a bank, we partner with CFAO so that we can give customers the privilege of driving brand new vehicles. So what we're doing with them today is you can walk into CFAO, pick up an invoice, and give a 25% contribution from your side as a customer, and we, the bank, we come in and finance 75% of the invoice value for you. Now we can take this financing from a year up to 5 years. We are doing it for corporate customers, we are doing it for individual customers, we are doing it for corporations, SMEs, anybody at all qualified. Once you come in, we do the assessments and we see that you fall in the criteria. Yes, we can always arrange something for you.
CFAO Company Limited held an open house fun fair over the weekend to enable prospective customers test drive cars and have their old vehicles serviced for free. Teachers and facilitators at technical and vocational education and training institutions across the country are to undertake competency-based training. The one-year project will equip the workforce with relevant competencies in TVET and entrepreneurial development. Vice-Chancellor of Akintin Apia-Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Frederick Safo, assured the initiative would enhance TVET education in the country.
The Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, since its inception has been equipping the youth with essential skills to enhance their employability and livelihoods. However, its traditional delivery is reportedly not yielding the needed and useful competencies, hence an introduction of a competency-based teaching. A grant agreement between the German Agency for International Cooperation and TVET institutions in Ghana is ensuring the implementation of the project. Here is Vice-Chancellor of Akintin Apia-Menka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Frederick Safo.
This will promote the production of well-trained and resourceful graduates and facilitators who can train others to work effectively in the world of work and create their own enterprises and employ people to support government industrialization and use that agenda.
The initiative aims at contributing to the development of a productive workforce by linking the education system to the needs of Ghana's economy. 1,450 teachers and workplace facilitators, including 50 disabled personnel, are being trained under the project. Head of TVET unit of GIZ, Leah Lambert, is assertive the training would transcend to students for quality TVET education.
This cooperation with AMSTED will support efforts to ensure that TVET facilitators across Ghana are able to provide high-quality education to learners throughout the country and increase the skill sets and quality of technical institutions. I really want to emphasize on the importance of the facilitators, because that's really where it starts, right? So if our facilitators are knowledgeable and competent and highly skilled, then hopefully our learners can thrive and hopefully they can find decent employment.
The project, which is in collaboration with the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, is in support of government's agenda of job creation and economic development. Dr. Frederick Che Asamoah is director of CTVET.
Government is committed to improving the TVET landscape. The regulation of the sector will continue to be enforced and enhanced to make sure government's commitment to transform our TVET sector so that it can be relevant to our job market, create more jobs so that our economy can go up higher.
For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reporting.
Well, up next, your money tips on Money Lab.
Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Money Lab. Today we'll look at stock indices. What are stock indices? They are numerical measures of the performance of a given stock exchange. In finance, a stock index or a stock market index is an index that measures a stock market or a subset of the stock market, and it helps the investor to compare the current price levels with past price levels for analysis.
All right, guys, that's our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. I want to show you our top story tonight. Government spent 33.61 billion cedis on interest payments in 2021. Also, Bank of Ghana to hike policy rate significantly in 2022 if risks persist. That's according to Fitch Solutions. You can read more on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching. We're back same time tomorrow.